Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. E. Srinivasa, working as an assistant professor of physics in IDHG Government College, Chikmagalur. In this video, I am going to explain the construction, working, and theory of betatron, which is a chapter in a particle accelerator. So this particle accelerator is a chapter for 3rd BSc physics students studying in 6th semester in a paper 8, and this is the session number 15. So the name of the paper is Nuclear and Particle Physics. So in this video I am going to explain once again what is betatron, for what purpose it is used, theory, principle and construction of the betatron. The betatron is used to accelerate electrons to high energies. In the last session, you know that the study of the cyclotron cannot be used to accelerate electrons because of its some limitations. Therefore, Kerst and Serber invented the betatron in 1940. Since beta particles are fast moving electrons, the accelerator is known as betatron. So betatron is used to accelerate electrons to very high energies. It provides electrons which are much more energetic than beta particles emitted by natural radioactive nuclides. With a betatron, it has been possible to obtain electrons of about 300 mega electron volt of energy. So betatron is used to accelerate electrons up to 300 MeV of energy, and it is a particle accelerator. Cyclotrons and synchrocyclotrons cannot be used to produce high energy electron beams because of the appreciable mass increase of the electrons at fairly low energies. For example, a 10% increase in the rest mass of the electrons take place at an energy of 50 keV only. That is why betatron is constructed by Kerst and Serber in 1940. So this is the diagram of KW Kerst with the betatron. So the betatron construction. The principle of the betatron. The principle of betatron is same as that of the transformer, in which an alternating current applied to the primary coil induces an alternating current in the secondary coil, as in the electromagnetic induction chapter. So in the transformer, we are applying the alternating current at the primary coil. That changed voltage is obtained across the secondary coil, and it works the principle of electromagnetic induction. In betatron, secondary coil is replaced by donut shaped vacuum chamber. Here also we are applying the alternating current, and hence the change in magnetic field. But in betatron, the secondary coil of the transformer is replaced by donut shaped vacuum chamber. When the electron is injected in donut, an alternating magnetic field has two effects. When the electron is injected in donut, an alternating magnetic field has two effects. First one is an EMF is produced in the electron orbit due to change in magnetic flux that gives additional energy to the electron. This is Faraday's law. Whenever a magnetic field changes with the coil, an instantaneous EMF is induced. Like that, an EMF is produced in the electron orbit due to change in magnetic flux that gives additional energy to the electron. The second point is a radial force is produced by the action of the magnetic field, which helps the electron moving in a circular path. That is, electrons are accelerated by changing magnetic field. The change in magnetic field is obtained by an electromagnet. So you already know that in your lower classes Whenever a charged particle like electrons moving perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field, it moves in a circular path because it experiences a Lorentz force F is equal to QUB sin theta. This radial force is produced by the action of the magnetic field which helps the electron moving in a circular path. That means electrons are accelerated by changing magnetic field. The change in magnetic field is obtained by an electromagnet, that is downward shaped circular coil is placed between the two electromagnets. Working of betatron. The betatron consists of a downward shaped vacuum chamber of ceramic placed between specially designed poles of an electromagnet. Here these are the coils. This is the magnet, these magnetic coils. So acts like an electromagnet, and this is a vacuum chamber. This is the direction of the magnetic field. So here we can see in this diagram the direction of the B. So the electrons are moving in the circular orbit. The electromagnet produces the strong magnetic field at the downward chamber. The electromagnets produces very strong magnetic field at the downward chamber. The magnetic field is non-uniform and the field intensity at the orbit is half of the average magnetic field prevailing in the chamber. That is very, very important. The magnetic field is non-uniform and the field intensity at the orbit, at this orbit, is half of the average magnetic field prevailing in the chamber. So the average magnetic field is the magnetic field in the chamber, but the magnetic field at the orbit is half of the average magnetic field prevailing in the chamber. This is the condition. This diagram also shows the diagram of betatron. This is the side view of the betatron and this is the top view of the betatron, and this is the downward chamber in which the electrons move in a circular orbit or shape, and finally they made to incident on the target. So by applying alternating current and hence alternating magnetic field, due to the change in current there is a change in magnetic field. The current also changes alternately, magnetic field also changes alternately. This change in magnetic field accelerates the electrons to a very high kinetic energy and finally made to incident on the target by applying auxiliary magnetic field. The figure shows the variation of the magnetic field with time. So this is the magnetic field and this is the time axis. This is the alternating current. Due to change in alternating current, magnetic field also changes alternately. Electrons are injected into the downward shaped vacuum chamber when magnetic field just begins to rise. Here this is the process of injection, and at the peak there is a process of extraction of the electrons. So electrons are injected into the downward shaped vacuum chamber when the magnetic field just begins to rise. As the magnetic field increases, the electrons are accelerated by the increasing magnetic flux linked with the electron orbit. The electrons are then accelerated by the increasing magnetic field or flux linked with the electron orbit. During this time, the magnetic field reaches its peak value, that is quarter of cycle. This is full one cycle. This is half cycle. Here the quarter of cycle. Up to this quarter cycle, the electrons make several thousand revolutions and get accelerated and gain energy. During the time the magnetic field increases from 0 to its peak or maximum value, that is quarter cycle, the electrons in the orbit make several thousands of revolutions and gets accelerated and gain energy. When the magnetic field has reached its maximum value, the electrons are extracted. Here extractions takes place. Extracted at this stage by using an auxiliary magnetic field to deflect them from their normal course. When the magnetic field has reached its maximum value, the electrons are extracted at this stage by using an auxiliary magnetic field to deflect from their normal course. If they are allowed to revolve anymore, the decreasing magnetic field would retard the electrons. If they are allowed to revolve anymore after reaching the maximum value, so the decreasing magnetic field would retard the electrons. Hence, the electrons are extracted at this stage. The high energy electron beam can be made to strike the target, generating X-rays. The high energy electron beam can be made to strike the target, generating X-rays. Alternately, the electrons can be made to emerge out of the apparatus and used for transmutation work, that is to change one element to the another element, called transmutation work. So this diagram shows how the magnetic field varies with the time, and also when the electrons injection takes place in the Donut chamber and when the electrons are extracted from the Donut chamber to make incident on the target for a different research work. Theory of Betatron. In a Betatron, electrons are moving in a donut shaped vacuum chamber placed in a varying magnetic field B, kept perpendicular to their path. So this is the electron orbit and the magnetic field is perpendicular to the direction of the electron orbit. Let electrons be moving in a circular orbit of radius r small r. Let phi be the magnetic flux through the orbit phi, total number of magnetic lines perpendicular to the surface, called magnetic flux through the orbit. According to Faraday's laws, the EMF induced in the orbit due to change in magnetic flux linking with the coil is given by E is equal to minus d phi by dt. So the magnitude of the induced EMF is directly proportional to rate of change of magnetic flux. According to Faraday's second law, EMF induced E is equal to minus d phi by dt. Call this as equation 1. The work done on the electron due to induced EMF is given by E is equal to charge on the electron into induced EMF, because induced EMF is equal to work done by charge. Work done is represented by W and charge on the electron is E. Therefore, work done is equal to EMF into charge. So, work done is equal to charge on the electron into induced EMF. The charge on the electron is E and EMF is given by d phi by dt. So, work done is equal to minus E into d phi by dt. Call this as equation 2. Let F be the tangential force acting on the electron, then work done on the electron in one revolution is here. So, this is the magnetic force and this is the centripetal force. That centripetal force is balanced by the magnetic force, and also there is a tangential force. So, the tangential force and the work done is related as work done is equal to force into distance. So, work done is equal to force into distance is circumference of the circle or orbit, that is 2 pi r. Call this as equation 3. equating equation 2 and 3, work done is equal to work done is equal to. So F into 2 pi r is equal to minus E into d phi by dt, or equate for F. F is equal to minus E over 2 pi r into d phi by dt. So F is equal to minus E by 2 pi r into d phi by dt. Call this as equation number 4. Due to the tangential force acting on the electron, its velocity increases. Therefore, it has a, because F is equal to QVB sin theta, here theta is the 90 degree, angle between the direction of the magnetic field and the motion is 90 degree. So F is equal to QVB. If we place E, charge on the electron in place of Q, F is equal to EVB. So F is directly proportional, force is directly proportional to velocity. So its velocity increases. Therefore, it has a tendency to move in a orbit of larger and larger radius. This is prevented by applying the magnetic field of appropriate magnetic field. This is very important. The electron should move in a circular orbit of constant radius, not in variable radius in case of cyclotron. So this is prevented by applying the magnetic field of appropriate magnitude, that is Fm. When an electron is moving along a circular orbit under the influence of magnetic field, then that centripetal force is balanced by the magnetic force. The centripetal force is given by mv square by r, and the magnetic force is given by BeV sin theta. Sin theta here 1, because theta is 90, sin 90 is 1, so F is equal to BeV. So therefore momentum of the electron is mv, 1v and 1v get cancelled. mv is equal to BER, cross multiply. Momentum, product of mass into velocity, mv is equal to BER. From the Newton's second law of motion, applied force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum, that is d by dt of mv. So F is equal to ER into, here magnetic field is changes, so ER into dB by dt, rate of change of magnetic field. So for mv substitute BER, so ER into dB by dt. Call this as equation 5. To maintain the electron in an orbit of fixed radius, the tangential force should be equal to the force due to the varying magnetic field. Hence, equating equations 4 and 5. So equation 4 is E by 2 pi r into d phi by dt, and the equation 5 is ER into dB by dt. So here d phi by dt, dB by dt. So derivative. So d phi is equal to 2 pi r square. So 1 over 2 pi r is there. Multiply this 2 pi r square and E get cancelled. E and E get cancelled. So this is 1 by E by 2 pi r. 2 pi r into r is 2 pi r square into dB. So by taking derivative, d phi is equal to 2 pi r square dB. On integrating, we get integration differentiation get cancelled. So phi is equal to 2 pi r square b. The flux linking with the orbit is equal to 2 pi r square into b, or the magnetic field B is equal to phi over 2 pi r square. This is the equation number 6. If B average is the average magnetic field intensity over the whole area of the orbit, then B average is equal to B by 2. So here phi by 2 pi r square. Phi by 2 pi r square. So 2 B average is equal to 2 times the magnetic field at the orbit, 2B. So 1, 2 and 2 get cancelled. We get B average is equal to phi by pi r square. Therefore, equation 6 can be written as B is equal to B average by 2, or B average is equal to 2B. That means B average is the average magnetic field over the plane of the chamber. I mean a vacuum chamber, that is Betatron, plane of the donut shaped chamber, plane of the chamber, where B is the magnetic field at the orbit of the electron. So B average is equal to 2 times the magnetic field at the orbit, electron's orbit. This is the mathematical description of the condition of the working of a Betatron. This implies that for the working of a Betatron, the average magnetic field strength through the orbit must always be twice the magnetic field strength that exists at the orbit. Such a field distribution is obtained by specially designed magnet and donut chamber in which electron is moving. So this is about the theory of Betatron, and have used all these books as reference to make this PPT as well as video. Thank you for watching. Thank you once again.